Hello friends, welcome to Learner's Planet. Friends, in this session I am going to take some doubts sent by the students. The doubts are based on geometry, numbers, calendars, clocks, etc. And I would recommend you just have your paper and pen ready with you and start solving the problems right with me. Okay, so let's take the first one. First of all, let's see this problem. Here, in the given figure, O is the center of the circle and AC is the diameter. Angle ADB is 120 degree, radius is 6 centimeter. Find the area of triangle ABC. So this is actually point B. Now angle ADB is 120 degree. If this angle is 120 degree, that means this angle must be 60 degree because ADBC is a cyclic quadrilateral because all the four vertices are on the circle. If it is a cyclic quadrilateral, then sum of opposite angles must be 180 degree. So if it is 120 degree, it has to be 60 degree. Okay. Similarly, AC is diameter. That means this angle B is the angle on semicircle. That means it has to be 90 degree. So it is a 90, 60, 30 triangle. Okay. Now radius of the circle is given, that is 6 centimeter. That means AC must be 12 centimeter. That means hypotenuse of this triangle is 12 centimeter. Now we want to find out the area of this triangle ABC. That means we need to know AB and BC, right? Now AB is what? Base of this triangle, right? So relationship between base and hypotenuse is given by cos theta. So cos 30 degree, that is root 3 by 2 is equal to base by hypotenuse, so AB by 12. So AB is equal to 6 root 3. So base is 6 root 3. Similar relationship between BC, that is perpendicular, and hypotenuse is given by sin theta. Now sin 30 degree is half. So half is equal to BC by 12. So BC is equal to 6. So area of this triangle will be half AB into BC. So half into 6 root 3 into 6. So that is 18 root 3 square units. That will be the area of this triangle, right? So quite simple. Now let's see this problem. In this figure, ABCD is a rectangle in which length is twice its breadth. H and G divide the line CD into 3 equal parts. Similarly, points E and F trisect the line AB. A circle is circumscribed by a square PQRS which passes through the points E, F, G, H. Find the ratio of area of circle to the rectangle. Now here friends, we have to find out the area of circle and area of rectangle. We have to find out the ratio. Now when a circle circumscribe a square, then diagonal of the square, right, whether we talk about SQ or PR, diagonal of the square is nothing but the diameter of the circle, right? So precisely we have to find out the diameter of this square, diagonal of this square. Okay, so first of all, what I assume here, it is given that the length is twice its breadth, right? So what I do, and these are the points of trisection, H and G, these are the point of trisection. So DH is equal to HG is equal to GC. So I assume this to be X, this to be X, and this to be X, right? So DH is X, HG is X, and GC is X. That means the total length is 3X. That means this must be 3X by 2 because length is twice its breadth. So length is 3X, breadth is twice X. Okay. Now what? We know the area of this rectangle, that is 3x into 3x by 2. Now we have to find out the area of the circle. For that we need to find diagonal of the square, right? Now diagonal of the square, that is, I just draw a fair line. Now diagonal x this complete angle is 90 degree, so this angle must be 45 degree. So, and apart from that, this figure is symmetric. So from this point H to G, the length is x. That means this length, that is this length must be x by 2. Right? Now this angle is 45 degree and this triangle is similar to this triangle. That means this angle must also be also 45 degree. Right? Now if it is 45 degree, this has to be 90 degree. If it is 45 degree, this will also be 45 degree. That means if it is x by 2, this length will also be of x by 2. Right? I suppose this point to be say M. Right? So SM is x by 2 because HN is equal to SM since both the angles are of 45 degree. Right? So this length is x by 2. Now from this point to this point, the total length, the height or the length, what we can say is 3x by 2 from this point to this point. That is nothing but the breadth of the rectangle. Right? Again, figure is symmetric. So this length will be equal to this length, right? This is the middle line of the rectangle. So the total length is 3x by 2. That means from this point to this point, it must be 3x by 4. Right? So from this point to this point, the total length is x by 2 plus 3x by 4. Or we can say 2x by 4 plus 3x by 4, that is 5x by 4. That is the length from this point to this point. That means the total length of the diagonal will be 2 times this, right? This is what the diameter of the circle, right? So radius of the circle will be this only, 5x by 4. Now we have to find out the area of circle and rectangle. So radius of the circle we have got. So area will be pi into 5x into 5x, pi r square. So it is pi r square, right? And area of rectangle is 3x into 3x by 2. 3x into 3x by 2. Right? Cancel x, 2, 2. So this is 5 into 5, 25 pi by 3 3s are 9, 9 8s are 72. So 25 is to 72. That is the ratio of area of circle to rectangle. Okay, so that was pretty simple. You can see hardly any paperwork is required. The problem is literally conceptual. Okay. Now this problem. Here ABCD is a cyclic quadrilateral. The angle bisector of ABCD intersect at PQRS as shown in the figure. These 4 points form a quadrilateral PQRS. So PQRS is a square, rhombus, rectangle or cyclic quadrilateral. We have to find out. Now I have redrawn the diagram and put up the data over here. Just see this. Here, see the first basic property is the sum of opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral is 180 degree. So this complete angle plus this complete angle is 180 degree, right? And since this is angle bisector, I assume this complete angle to be A and this complete angle to be B. So this will be A by 2 and this will be A by 2, right? So if A plus B is 180, that means A by 2 plus B by 2 is 90. Similarly, this complete angle is alpha and this complete angle is beta. So alpha by 2 plus beta by 2 will be 90 degree, right? Now we can see this triangle. Okay, now if this angle is beta by 2, this angle is B by 2, that means this angle must be 180 minus B by 2 plus beta by 2, right? Now this and this, both of them are vertically opposite angle. So this angle and this will be same. So this angle is also 180 minus B by 2 plus beta by 2. Similarly, this angle will be 180 minus A by 2 plus alpha by 2, right? And this angle and this angle is vertically opposite. So this angle will be 180 minus A by 2 plus alpha by 2. Right? Now if we add both of them, these are opposite angles. So if we add both of them, we'll be getting 360 minus alpha by 2 plus A by 2 plus beta by 2 plus B by 2. That is 180. From here we can see if we add both of them, we'll be getting A by 2 plus alpha by 2. So precisely sum of these two angles is 180 degree. Similarly, sum of these two angles will also be 180 degree because a quadrilateral has to be total angle sum as 360 degree, right? So if opposite angle sum is 180 degree, so it will be definitely a cyclic quadrilateral. Now cyclic quadrilateral, it is for sure. Okay, as far as square, rhombus and rectangle are concerned, we cannot say, because even in all these cases sum of opposite angles are 90 degree, 180 degree. But since we do not know the sides, length of the sides in any of this case, so we cannot comment upon whether they will be square, rhombus or rectangle, right? But this will be a cyclic quadrilateral, that is for sure. Fine. Now we have some problems based on numbers. Here, the least number to be added to 3545 so that 65 divides the result exactly is. Okay, the problem is very simple. If you are conceptually clear, then this problem can be done in 15-20 seconds. You must be knowing the divisibility rule of 13. As I have already discussed the divisibility rule in our basic session, basic quant session, divisibility rules. See, 65, first of all, just go for the co-prime factors. That is 13 and 5. Right? 13 and 5 are co-prime to each other. That means if a number is divisible by both 13 and 5, then that number will be definitely divisible by 65. That is the first funda you can say. Right? Now whatever you add, maybe 50, 40, 30, 20 to this number, all the numbers will be definitely divisible by 5. So you don't have to worry anything about 5. Now you have to check for 13. Right? Now precisely we have to add a number from the option. So the final answer is divisible by 13, because 5 is already eliminated. Now we have to check for 13, right? Now what is the divisibility rule of 13? As I have discussed in the basic session, from here, so this is the number 3545. Start making set of 3 from unit digit. So this is one set and this is number alone. Right? 545 minus 3, right? From this set, deduct this set. So 545 minus 3 is 542, right? If it is 0, then this number is definitely divisible by 13. If it is not 0, then let's see what happens. So if 542 is divided by 13, 13 4s are 52, 2 and 2, 22 is left. That means finally 9 is the remainder. That means 3545 is actually 13x plus 9 format. Right? That means if you divide 3545 by 13, 9 will be the remainder. Right? So if you add 30 to this, right? So what it will be? 13x plus 39. Again 39 will be multiple of 13. So if you add 30 to this number, that is 3545, the number will be divisible by 13. Right? From 5 it is already divisible. Now it will be divisible by 13 also. So precisely it will be divisible by 65. So what you have to add? 30. And simply we have put up the rule, divisibility rule of 13 over here. Right? So if you know the divisibility rule, then this problem is of 15 to 20 seconds, not more than that. Okay? And here I just go for a quick recap. Make a set of 3, 3. Make sets of 3, 3 numbers. 545 minus 3, 542. So divide 542 by 13 to get the remainder. The remainder will be same when you divide this 3545 by 13. Right? So here we are getting the remainder as 9. So this number is actually 13x plus 9 format. So if you add 30, it will be 13x plus 39 format. So 13x plus 39 is definitely divisible by 13. So 13x plus 9, that is 3545, plus 30, if we add, the complete number becomes divisible by 13. Okay. Similarly, you can see this problem 87. We have to find out 87 co-prime factors, 29 and 3. That means this number should be divisible by whatever you add in this, the number should be divisible by 29 and 3 both, right? So let's see whether this number is divisible by 3 as of now or not. So it is 8 plus 2, 10 plus 6, 16, 17 plus 4, 21. So sum of all these digits is 21. That means this number is already divisible by 3, right? So this number is already in the 3x format, right? So if you want a number that to be added to this and the final result to be divisible by 3, then the number to be added should also be divisible by 3, right? So if this number is in 3x format, the other number should also be in the other number should also be multiple of 3. So 17 and 14, two options are eliminated. Getting my point? Two multiples of 3, if you add, then only you will be getting the final result as the multiple of 3, right? A multiple of 3 and a non-multiple of 3 will produce a non-multiple of 3 as a result. Okay, so here 17 and 14, both of them are eliminated because this number is in 3x format, or this is 3 multiple of 3, and 17 and 14, both of them are not multiple of 3. So if you add this to this, you will not be getting a multiple of 3. If you do not get the multiple of 3, the number will not be multiple of 87, because 87 is nothing but multiple of 3, right? So we eliminated these two. Okay, now whether you add 9 or whether you add 12, in both the cases this number will be, the final result will be divisible by 3. Now we have to check for 29. Okay, now what is the divisibility rule of 29? Divisibility rule of 29 is unit digit into 3 plus number of tens, right? That should be divisible by 29. Okay, unit digit into 3 plus number of tens. Okay, if it is divisible by 29, then the entire number will be divisible by 29. Okay, so what I do, since now I am left with only two options, 12 and 9, I choose one of them and check whether it is divisible by 29 or not. If it is divisible by 29, then we will mark that as answer, and if it is not divisible by 29, then obviously the left one is the answer, right? So 2, 8, 6, 1, 4, I add 9. So it is 2, 8, 6, 14 plus 9, that will be 623. Now unit digit into 3 plus number of tens. Here unit digit is 3, into 3 I add, and now it becomes 2, 8, 7, 1. Further you can repeat the process till you get a number that is multiple of 29, and you can identify that, right? So it is 3 and this is 290. That is definitely multiple of 29. That means 28623 is multiple of 29. That means if we add 9, we are getting the answer to be multiple of 29. So this is the correct choice. No need to check for 12. Okay. Now let's see this problem. What will be the smallest number that must be subtracted from this so the remainder is exactly divisible by 54? Now 54 is what? 27 into 2. That means we have to subtract a number from this. So the resultant is multiple of 27 and 2 both as well, right? Now all of them are odd number minus odd number, the resultant will be an even number. So resultant in any case, whether we choose any option, it is definitely divisible by 2. So now we have to check for 27, and 27 is what? Multiple of 9, right? So let us see which of them produce a multiple of 9. Right, so 24305, it is divisibility rule of 9 is what? Sum of digit must be divisible by 9. So 4 and 3, 7 into 9 plus 5, 14. That is, so it is 9x plus 5 format, right? That means this number when divided by 9 give 5 as the remainder, right? So if we delete 5 from this, the remaining or the result will be divisible by 9, obviously. So we can delete 5. Right, so if number is 9x plus 5 format, you cannot delete any other number to get a multiple of 9, right? So no need to work till 27. You can eliminate the 3 option even for 9, right? So if the number is not multiple of 9, it in any case it cannot be multiple of 27. Okay, so this is the correct choice. Now this is, what is the least number by which 84 must be multiplied in order to produce a multiple of 128? Now 128 is what? 2 raised to 7, right? That is 64 into 2, or we can say 2 raised to 7. And this 84 is 21 into 4. So that is actually 21 into 2 square. So we want a number to be multiple of 128. That means we need at least 2 raised to 7. This really doesn't matter, because if we have 2 raised to 7, then any multiple of 2 raised to 7 will also be multiple of 128, right? So here we are having 2 square and we want 2 raised to 7. That means it has to be multiplied by 2 raised to 5. Okay, the least number. So that is 32. Okay, so I hope you are getting it. Now we have this problem from clocks. A watch gains uniformly is 5 minutes slow at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and it is 5 minutes 48 seconds fast at 8 p.m. on following Sunday when it was correct, right? So precisely Sunday morning to next Sunday evening, right? So 24 into 7 plus 12, that is 180 hours. Okay, and initially it is showing 7:55 because it is 5 minutes slow at 8 o'clock, and finally it is showing 8:05:48, right? Because it is fast by 5 minutes 48 seconds. Okay, so precisely it is gaining 5 minutes, that is from 7:55 to 8:05:48. It is gaining 5 plus 5 10 minutes and 48 seconds. 10 minutes means 600 seconds and 48. So precisely it is gaining 648 seconds in 180 hours, right? So 648 seconds in 180 hours, that means every hour it is gaining 3.6 seconds. That is 648 by 180. Right, every hour it is gaining 3.6 seconds, right? So precisely we have to find out the correct time. That means actually it is showing 7:55 and it has to show 8 o'clock, right? That will be the right time. Okay, when actual clock is the correct clock is showing at 8 o'clock, this clock has to show 8 o'clock. That means it has to gain 5 minutes. 5 minutes, that means 300 seconds, right? So it takes 3.6 second is gained in 1 hour. That means 300 seconds will be gained in 83 1 by 3 hours, right? So from Sunday to Monday 24, Monday to Tuesday 24, Tuesday to Wednesday morning 24, 72 is this. So till Wednesday morning 72 hours, and then see 83 1 by 3, that means 9 1 by 3 hour. I'm sorry, yeah, 9 1 by 3 hours more. No, 72 and 83, 11 1 by 3 hours more, right? So it is 7 this 8 a.m. 11 hours, that means 7 p.m. and 1 by 3 hour, that means 20 minutes. So 7:20 in the evening, and the third day, that is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So 7:20 on Wednesday. It will show the correct time, right? I just go for a quick recap. It started with 7:55 on first Sunday, and the next Sunday instead of 8 it is showing 7:55, and on the next Sunday instead of 8 it is showing 8:05:48, right? So precisely it is gaining how much seconds? 648 seconds, right? If you deduct this from this, you'll be getting 648 seconds, right? 7:55 from 7:55 to 8:05:48, it is 648 seconds, right? And actually it is 180 hours. You start 8 and 8, right? It is 8 a.m. on the first Sunday and it is 8 p.m. on the next Sunday. So 24 into 7 plus 12, 180 hours, right? So it is taking 180 hours to gain this many seconds, right? That means per hour 3.6 second is gained. And if it has to show the correct time, it has to gain 5 minutes because it is showing 7:55. So when the correct clock shows 8 o'clock, it has to show 8 o'clock. That means it has to gain 5 minutes. 5 minutes means 300 seconds. So 3.6 second in 1 hour. So 300 seconds in 83 1 by 3 hour. That is 3 complete days. That is 72 hours plus 11 1 by 3 hours. So Wednesday evening 7:20 it will show the correct time. Okay, problem is really simple, only arithmetic calculation is involved, so not to worry much, just go for a quick recap if you are not clear for the first time. Okay, similarly you can see this problem. A watch which gains uniformly is 2 minutes slow at noon on Monday is 4 minute 48 second fast at 2 p.m. on the following Monday. When was it correct? So on Monday, the first Monday, it is showing 11:58, right? Because at noon it is 2 minutes slow, so it is showing 11:58. And on the next Monday, instead of 2 o'clock, it is showing 2 minute 2 o'clock, then 4 minute and 48 seconds, right? So here it is 2 minute slow, and here it is 4 minute plus 48 seconds fast. So in all it is gaining 4 plus 2, 6 minute and 48 seconds. 6 minutes means 360 seconds. 360 plus 48, 408 seconds it is gaining, right? And it is gaining 408 seconds in how many hours? That is 24 into 7. Start from noon of this Monday to noon of next Monday. 24 into 7 plus 2 o'clock, so plus 2 hours. So 24 into 7 plus 2. So it is 170 hours. So 408 seconds are gained in 170 hours. So 408 by 170 seconds per hour, right? Now to show right time, it has to gain 2 minutes, because when it is 12 o'clock, it is showing 11:58. That means it has to gain 2 minutes, right? And it is gaining 408 seconds in 170 hours. So 2 minutes, that means 120 seconds. So 408, sorry, 120 by 408 into 170 hours. Okay. So it is 120 by 408 into 170 hours. It will take to gain 120 seconds, and then at that time it will show the correct time. The problem is quite similar to this previous one, right? So it is 3.4. So it will take 50 hours from 12 o'clock on Monday. So 12, 24, 24, and then 2. So 12 o'clock on Tuesday, 12 o'clock on Wednesday, then 2 hours, that means 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Right? It will show the correct time. So both the problems are quite similar to each other. You have to see the initial time, the final time. The difference between the two is it is 2 minute loss, here 4 minute 48 second gain. So in all 408 seconds are gained in 170 hours. So per hour gain is this. So it has to gain 120 seconds because it is running 2 minutes behind, 2 minutes slow it is. So it has to gain 120 seconds. So that will take 50 hours, and this 50 hours is 2 p.m. on Wednesday, right? So in the next session, I'll be taking some more doubts on some more topics also, on even and calendar and clocks also. So do revise this session. Bye bye.